The transfer portal really went wild over the last 24 hours. We had some big names transfer to new schools, and a lot more notable names that entered the portal. Here's everything you need to know about what went down in the transfer portal over the last 24 hours. Before we get to today's video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you're watching this video, odds are you love college football, and odds are you aren't subscribed to my channel. So make sure to subscribe to one of the best college football communities here on YouTube. We'll kick things off with a few players who transferred to new programs. The biggest name was former Tulane quarterback Darian Mensah, who is transferring to Duke. Now, this one went down pretty quickly, considering he literally just put his name into the transfer portal last week. Mensah was widely considered as one of the top quarterbacks that was available, so this is quite the pickup for the Blue Devils. Duke went 9-3 this season with Malik Murphy as their quarterback, but he recently left via the transfer portal, so they were in need of a new starting quarterback. As a redshirt freshman, Mensah led Tulane to the American Conference title game in his first season as the starter. He threw for 2,700 yards and had 22 passing touchdowns. He led the American Conference in both completion percentage and passing efficiency. Mensah really came out of nowhere this year as he redshirted in 2023 and entered Tulane's fall camp projected to be the number 3 quarterback behind Ty Thompson and Kai Horton. But he won the job and had Tulane as one of the best group of 5 teams in the entire country. If it wasn't for a loss to Memphis in the final week of the season, they would have been in the hunt for a potential playoff spot. According to ESPN, Mensah said he hung out with Duke's offensive line during his visit on Tuesday night, and he came away very impressed by the group. Mensah said that Duke head coach Manny Diaz made a strong impression in a short amount of time. I posted a video yesterday talking about all the top quarterbacks who had entered the portal. One of the names that I mentioned was UAB quarterback Jacob Zeno, and how there were rumors he'd end up at Texas A&M. Well, he wasted no time as he committed to the Aggies literally minutes after I posted that video. But it doesn't look like Zeno will be the starting quarterback for A&M, as they still have Marcel Reed. Zeno will just provide depth and be a really solid backup should something happen with Reed. Zeno has been around for a while, as he was taking snaps at Baylor all the way back in 2019. He spent 3 seasons with the Bears before he transferred to UAB, where he spent the last 3 years. He appeared in only 4 games this season, throwing for 800 yards with 6 passing touchdowns. The best season of his career came in 2023 when he threw for over 3,100 yards while completing 74% of his passes. He also had 20 passing touchdowns to go along with 4 rushing touchdowns. Alright, let's get to all the players who entered the portal in the past day. There has been a lot of activity surrounding Mississippi State. The first piece of news was that quarterback Blake Shapen announced he'd be returning. He suffered a season-ending shoulder injury in week 4. Shapen transferred to Mississippi State from Baylor in 2024 and was quickly named the starting quarterback. He threw for 1,000 yards, 8 passing touchdowns, and had only 1 interception while completing 64% of his passes. But a couple games into the season, he was injured and he missed the rest of the year. After Shapen went down, Michael Van Buren was the starter. Well, he's now in the transfer portal. The true freshman threw for just under 2,000 yards and had 16 total touchdowns. He had 2 300-yard performances, including throwing for over 300 yards with 3 touchdowns against Georgia. Van Buren decommitted from Oregon in December of 2023 to sign with Mississippi State and play under Jeff Lebby. But with Blake Shapen returning, he's now in the portal. And that's not the only quarterback to keep an eye on for Mississippi State. Despite there being a lot of movement surrounding the Bulldogs quarterback room, they're in the market for one more, as they're reportedly the favorite to land former 5-star and Oklahoma quarterback Jackson Arnold. Arnold is connected to Mississippi State through coach Jeff Lebby, who was Oklahoma's offensive coordinator in 2022 and 2023. Arnold was a freshman for the Sooners in Lebby's last season before he was hired by the Bulldogs. We have plenty of other quarterbacks who jumped into the portal as well. Another really good one is former Cal quarterback Fernando Mendoza. He's already generating a lot of buzz as one of the top quarterbacks that will become available. In 11 games for Cal this season, Mendoza threw for over 3,000 yards and had 16 passing touchdowns. Miami is a team expected to be in the market for Mendoza, as he is a Miami native. He also has ties to Indiana. His younger brother Alberto is a freshman backup quarterback for the Hoosiers, and with Indiana set to lose Curtis Work, they're going to be in the market for a new starting quarterback. Mendoza had a couple of really solid games this season, including a game on the road at Auburn where he threw for over 200 yards with 2 passing touchdowns. He also threw for nearly 300 yards and 2 touchdowns in a 1-point loss to Miami. In his final game of the season, he led a 98-yard game-winning touchdown drive in a victory over Stanford, where he threw for 300 yards with 3 passing touchdowns. Former San Jose State quarterback Emmett Brown recently entered the portal. He got off to a really strong start in 2024 2024, and it looked like he was on track towards putting up some incredible numbers. Through the first 5 games, he threw for 1,500 yards and had 15 passing touchdowns. Despite great numbers to start his season, he was benched midway through the year. Trailing by 7 against Nevada, San Jose State made a quarterback change, bringing in Walker Eget. He led them to a victory, and after that, was named San Jose State's starting quarterback moving forward. Again, I'm not sure what the reason was for it. Maybe they thought Eget was the better option over Brown, but he was their quarterback the rest of the way. So technically, in only 4.5 games, you had a quarterback that threw for 1,500 yards and 15 touchdowns, and he was benched. Not too many quarterbacks put up those kind of numbers over a 5-game stretch this season, so it's going to be interesting to see where he lands. Quarterback EJ Warner is going to be looking for his 3rd program in 3 years. He spent last season with Rice after spending his previous 2 seasons with Temple. He's actually put up some really solid numbers during his career. He's thrown for over 8,800 yards and has 58 passing touchdowns. Since the start of the 2022 season, there are only 6 quarterbacks in all of college football who have posted those numbers: Cam Ward, Dylan Gabriel, Seth Hennigan, Jackson Dart, Michael Penix, and EJ Warner. His best season was in 2023 with Temple when he threw for 3,000 yards and had 23 passing touchdowns. There are a lot of quarterbacks who enter the portal who have little to no experience. With Warner, you're getting one of the more experienced and proven quarterbacks in the transfer portal. After beginning the season as SMU's starting quarterback, Preston Stone became the backup as he watched his team make it to the college football playoff. He lost his job to Kevin Jennings, who proved to be the better quarterback for the Mustangs. Stone was coming off a really great 2023 season. Last year for SMU, he threw for 3,200 yards and had 28 passing touchdowns with only 6 interceptions. We'll wrap up the portal news with a number of really solid wide receivers. We'll start with the biggest name that entered today in Mississippi State wide receiver Kevin Coleman. It's funny how earlier we were talking about the quarterback carousel going on with Mississippi State, but they just lost their best wide receiver. Coleman was fantastic for Mississippi State in 2024. He caught 74 passes for 930 yards and had 6 receiving touchdowns. He was number 2 in the SEC in receiving yards and was number 4 in receptions. Coleman originally started his career at Jackson State, but then transferred to Louisville for a season. After a year with the Cardinals, he transferred to Mississippi State for a year. And early rumors are, from what I've seen, have him ending up at Missouri. USC took a hit as they lost wide receiver Deuce Robinson. The former 5-star showed flashes this season, but it didn't lead to a lot of results. He appeared in 12 games, but only caught 23 passes. He did turn those receptions into 400 yards, averaging more than 17 yards per reception. Robinson also had 5 receiving touchdowns as well. Oklahoma continues to lose weapons as they lost wide receiver Jaleel Farouk. He appeared in only 2 games this season as an injury wiped out his campaign. 2023 was the best season of his career, where he looked to be emerging as one of the top wide receivers in the Big 12. He caught 45 passes for 700 yards. He also averaged 22 yards per kick return. During his career with the Sooners, Farouk caught 89 passes for 1,300 yards and had 7 receiving touchdowns. He also added over 250 yards on the ground, averaging more than 7 yards per attempt. The final receiver for today's video is former Oregon and Washington State wide receiver Chris Hudson. He had the best season of his collegiate career in 2024 as he was one of John Mateer's top targets. He caught 54 passes for 700 yards and had 3 total touchdowns. Prior to Washington State, he spent time at Oregon. From 2021 through 2022, Hudson caught 75 passes for 900 yards with 2 receiving touchdowns. Well, that wraps it up for today's video. Which player in the transfer portal is going to make the biggest impact at their new school? Also, where do you think some of these guys should transfer to? Whatever your thoughts and predictions are on the players I talked about today, let me know in the comment section down below. Before you leave, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. I'm posting college football videos all off season long, so make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. Also, don't forget to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that YouTube algorithm, and it helps share this video and my channel with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.